So, right, I'm going to sort of tell you about the story of this pressure washer because it's a complete pile of rubbish. The original pressure washer system had this pressure pipe drum that you'd wrap your pipe around, and that would get, of course, cold, and when you took the pipe off, the pipe would curl up and be totally unusable. So when I had a problem with the pressure washer, I decided first of all to remove this piece of junk. Now I've also, as I come on to this, I've also decided to keep the bottom of the pressure washer open. So that's going in the bin. It's very difficult to pull apart, so I can access things. Coming onto the pressure washer, it had a rotary connector, which is here. This allowed the pipe to wind on to the now redundant drum, of course. And after about 2 years, this starts to leak water. It doesn't have any means of repairing it. There's no sort of internal O-ring seal, so that's just complete rubbish. So I thought, okay, well, we've got the pipe at the top. How about we examine the inside of the pressure washer? So, first of all, there's a capacitor, about 350 microfarads at 450 volts, standard cap. That had gone. So I've replaced that and put it back in the sealed unit. I didn't take the pipe, I didn't cut the cable in the box. I did the bonding and the jointing in here, the actual connection in here. So all this has gone back. The pump now runs when you fire it up. Sounds a bit bad, but it runs. So I thought, okay, I want to continue to use the steam hose connector that's bonded onto the hose. So what I've done is I've cut the back, you can see it, I've cut the back with a hot knife, I've made a hole, and the main feed pipe is going back onto the output housing and detergent mixer, so it's totally compatible with the end of the pump. So I've removed it from here with the rotary connector, thrown the cable drum away and all its other nonsense. The end of that's here. I'm going to chop that off in a minute. And this now goes onto the back. And actually the joint, you can move the joint as well. It doesn't leak, so you can actually move it. There's no leak, and it's serviceable because if you take that big nut off, you've got a couple of O-rings in there, so if you do get a leak, you can easily repair it. So that's good. So I've reassembled the handle, changed the capacitor, made it easier to access the cap. I couldn't get the long screws out, so I just broke the things out because I didn't have a long enough screwdriver and I got sick of the thing. So that's going to go back on there. And the capacitor, the main motor capacitor, which you do need, of course, is simply visible now. So this is another piece of junk that I bought in Thailand, repaired, and it's going to go back into service. I think I paid about 5,000 baht for it, which is $120 or something like that. So it's worth putting back in, putting back into service. I don't want to say that it's something you throw away because that's not necessary. And as I say before, I've just crudely modified the case, so when I put it all back together again, it'll have a nice sort of visible bit at the bottom, which makes it easier to change the cap if it goes again. It's very unlikely that it's going to go. The capacitor sits reasonably quite well in a tray, so it's not a bad repair anyway, so that'll do for the time being. Yeah, so that's it, another piece of junk, plus a pile of leftover bits and pieces. Then later on I'll move on to another clip. So this is I think this is a Hitachi pressure washer. I'm not too sure actually. It's reasonably well made. It's quite sturdy, but once I took out that rotary connector that allowed the cable drum to work, once I took that out of it, here's the cable drum. pipe drum, whatever you call it. That actually slowed the water down quite a lot. So the actual power left in the system is quite high. Well, okay, get your toolbox out, get your hot knife and a disc cutter out, and you can happily hack away at the happy little Hitachi monstrosity. Yeah, in the UK I have a KARCHER steam pressure washer, which you put diesel in and electric, so I miss that terribly. So that's the point. Bye.